Um, I'm looking forward to finding out when we get there, but I, based upon what little bit I think I know about the topic, um, I imagine that it's going to be walking people through being able to see uh, individuals within Muslim communities who are open to the gospel, and to find the people who are people of peace as defined by the Bible, who would be interested in hearing about the God who sent His Son to make peace with us.
Yeah.
We were still God's enemies when He sent Christ to die for us. So that's what I'm thinking.
So there are a couple of things I'm hearing here. First, I'm listening. I'm hearing about peace, of course, through Christ. Uh, through I'm missing you. There you go. So peace through Christ, and then I'm hearing animosity. I'm hearing about enemy, right? So this enemy is of course, here you got the Christ, right? And the enemy got to be the opposition of that, and that is, we know, some people call it Antichrist, we can call it, or you can call it directly devil himself, Satan, because he does not want, he destroys peace. That's his idea. So Christ being the Prince of Peace, and devil being the opposition of that, whatever that looked like. So we got these two beautiful ideas here, but then in the midst of that, we got a big problem, and that is persecution, right? So whole idea this year is we are designing everything around the idea of persecution. So believers are being persecuted in Muslim countries. I had to leave Pakistan because I was persecuted. I had death, threats, and then fatwa. They were like, it was crazy. So I had to leave Pakistan. Thank God that I got a visa, because getting a visa was not easy thing. No country gives you visa to get out of Pakistan. But later it was proven that I was innocent. I never said anything about the Prophet Muhammad or the holy book of Muslims, the Quran. There was nothing. There was no true. I respect Muslims. I love Muslims. I have deep adoration for the faith that Muslims have, and the zeal they have. But yet the fact remains that Christians are being persecuted, falsely accused of blasphemy, and they are being killed, butchered with actually steak knives, like household objects and other things, in the streets of Muslim world. That's fact. That you can't change that. They've been imprisoned. It's gruesome. Many of the Muslim friends or individuals that I run into here in the United States, when I share with them what I have gone through, or other people or have gone through, they are just like astonished. They don't even believe or think that can happen in those countries, because they are far away from reality. And the reason of that reality exists because most of those kind of persecution oriented events take place in uneducated, slum type, rural and backward areas where people are not educated, so they just don't think through.
Do you mean like more rural areas where you don't have like a rule of law, like
No,
where there's not an infrastructure for
Sure.
police and that kind of
I
thing?
think police is part of the problem too
Okay.
in those places, because rule of law is not carried by. So even blasphemy law has proper system play. There is a
Okay.
proper system placed in the blasphemy laws, which means you have to have a witness. You have to have the case needs to go to a certain person. That person needs to investigate. But none of those people do their job, because all of them are just burning with hatred, which comes from fanaticism and deep-rooted hate against other minorities. But in the city areas, it's different.
Okay.
When you are in a modern city like Islamabad or a certain part of Lahore or Karachi, these things are condemned by Muslim community. So you have this like deep disconnect between even Muslim communities when it comes to the idea of persecution. So here in this workshop, we are dealing with two things. One, we are talking about blessed are the peacemakers. So there is the idea of like how can we have peace, especially when the prevailing notion is that Christians are being killed and butchered by Muslims. But the problem is it's a blanket over, we just like talk about if all Muslims are engaged in that, right? And therefore hate begets hate.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this workshop because I get these kind of questions all the time. I've been called all kind of names, and last year you saw the Facebook messages, right?
Yeah.
Some of the holy Christians were using big F words and other words, and they were calling us, those who run Heart for Muslims conference, that as if we've been sleeping with the enemy, and we've been
I miss those.
oh yeah. It was very vulgar and very awful language, but the point is, when you are hateful, you don't see what the Lord is calling you to do,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
You don't seek peace because you are seeking revenge. That's what my understanding is when I look at peace through Christ and animosity through devil. That's what it is. And if we are really following the Lord Jesus, so then we should be the people of peace. We should be proclaiming, regardless of how we are being treated. But if we are victims or we've been preyed by the enemy, then of course we're going to be reflecting the attributes that our enemy exhibits.
Yeah.
So, thoughts? Oh, that's good. That's I think covers what we are trying
Yeah.
to do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.